Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Abby and today I'll be showing you the plants that I personally think are underrated. I'll show you some in my collection, but I'll also show you some that I have had previously and I don't have anymore, or some that I've seen and I think are completely underrated and I don't own. And this video was actually requested by a subscriber, and I think it was on the back of me talking about plants that I think are overrated, and they just naturally wanted to see the underrated plants, which I thought was a brilliant idea. So here we are. Before we get into the video, don't forget to like it if you enjoy it, and don't forget to subscribe for more planty content from myself. So I only have 4 plants in my collection that I want to show you. I have a lot of plants that I was looking at and I was actually going to show you, and then I thought they probably are borderline rated, overrated, like not overrated obviously, but we talk about them a lot. So I really wanted to focus on the plants that I don't think we talk about really at all. One of them is borderline rated, underrated, but I think it's very underrated for what it is. So I'll show you that soon. The first plant I wanted to show you is this Hoya Carnosaur, and it's called a Hoya Carnosaur dark flower. I assume it has dark flowers when it blooms. But I'm really into veining Hoya. I'll show you the best. I think it's this leaf that I like the best. I really like veining Hoya, and this plant has veins and it's speckled, and I love the dark green foliage. And all in all, I think this Hoya is beautiful, and I don't see that many people talk about it or rave about it, and I absolutely love it. So I was looking at a few rare Hoya for the fact that you can see the veins. And when I got this delivered through the post from House of Koji, I was pleasantly surprised to see this has those deep veins. It's very hard to show on video, but it's just a Hoya that I think is just beautiful, and I do think it's really underrated. This actually is a really quick grower from my experience. We all know I have a Grow Star LED grow light, so we all know that my plants absolutely love it. So it is on that plant shelf, which is probably why it's growing so much. But ever since I've had it, I've had all of this kind of like growth here. I've had multiple new leaves. You can tell the new leaves, obviously they're smaller, but they're rubbery. That's like really, really flimsy and rubbery. My fridge is having a malfunction. Sorry about that noise. And it's a fast grower and it's speckled. It's got a really, really like dark green foliage with I can't say foliage anymore, but it does. It's got dark green leaves, and I love the veins. I just think they're so cool. So yeah, this is one of my favorite Hoyas at the moment, and I do think it is hugely underrated, considering considering it's very affordable as well. I think I paid £9 for this, so that is my number 1 underrated plant. So these are in no particular order, by the way. So number 1 is my first one I'm showing you, not my ultimate number 1. But another one is this peace lily. So this is the peace lily domino, I believe. It's also known as the variegated peace lily. I think this is hugely underrated. It's got really, really beautiful like mottled leaves. It's kind of like mottled in the color as well as like the texture. You'll never be able to see that, but well, maybe you can. It's like a really beautiful thick, it's like rubbery. I love the variegation on it. Some of them do have more sectoral variegation patches. Mine doesn't. I just seen it's gonna flower for me. I'm pretty sure that's a flower. It's a flower. Oh, that's so exciting. It's even more reason why this is an underrated plant. I love this. It is a drama queen though. So if you don't like plants that, well, it's a bonus as well, I suppose. If you like a plant that tells you when it's thirsty, you'll love this. If you don't like a plant that is constantly looking like it's just having a bad day, you won't like this. But I kind of like, it surprises me how much it wants watering. It's a really, really thirsty plant. I had my normal peace lily fully hydro, meaning it was just fully in water, no soil, just water. I neglected it, so it did root rot, but loads of people can do that and absolutely have no problem with it. I have mine in this really cute pot. I changed it because I really wasn't digging the really clunky blue one it was in. It was heavy. I just wasn't loving it. So I changed it to this one, which I think was like $2.99 from HomeSense, which I believe in America is TJ Maxx. It's our TK Maxx. So yeah, I just find this so easy. And now when it's starting to wilt, so I watered this maybe about an hour ago because I was going to talk about it today. I went to go get it from my windowsill, having watered it 3 days ago, thinking it would be fine. And it was all like this. It was like really sad. So it's perking up again, but it does surprise me how much water it needs. And obviously, like it's constantly pushing out new growth. It's got a flower, so it's obviously thirstier than normal. But all in all, I think this plant is very underrated. I know when I got my hands on this, I thought it was a unique opportunity, so I bought it. But then every stockist in the UK had this. So it is readily available, and I paid I think it was £28 or something. It was going to be more expensive because the stockist where I bought it from, so their supplier, sent images of it and it looked a lot bigger. So when it came in, I pre-ordered. I got a partial refund just because it was smaller. But yeah, I absolutely love it. Any bigger I think would be a bit of a problem because it's quite a wide plant. And yeah, that's number 2. So number 3, you can kind of see it a little bit. I think it's really, really underrated. Not many people talk about it that I'm exposed to, you could say, on Instagram. I've had this plant for a while. I've had this for nearly a year now, and I got it as a single leaf cutting. But this is like a mature leaf. Let me see if I can make this easier for everybody. I can't. This leaf here is a mature leaf. I love the lobes. I love the shape of it. It's such a cool plant. It is honestly like so weird and funky looking. I love it. The juvenile leaves come through. I mean, this one's like fully unfurled now. You see how it's a little skinnier at the top, whereas the older ones have a bit more of a body. This one's like a skinny little thing. I just think these are like so interesting. I mean, it's an okay grower in terms of like speed. Like I say, I've had this for a year. It's a bit wacky looking. This was a fresh cutting. I can't get my words out. This was a fresh cutting in August. So obviously it's grown its root system and established its root system, and it's given me 3 new leaves, and it's had thrips. You can see how bad. Oh, no, you can't. Can you see through here? No, the light needs to be behind it. I wonder if I've got a mobile phone. 2 seconds. I just realized I'm filming on my phone, so I found this phone. Okay, so can you see all of these? Oh no. Yeah, there you go. All of these holes there, that's thrip damage. So this suffered from thrips. It's better if I come out a bit. So this plant suffers from thrips is what I'm basically trying to say. And I noticed that usually stunts growth, and because it's just an unhappy plant, it's going through a bit of a rough time. So yeah, it has pushed out these 3 new leaves, and it's had thrips. So I think it's okay. I'm looking forward to it growing bigger. At the moment, it just sits on the top of my wardrobe and gets really dappled light because it's behind my massive monstera. So yeah, I think it's just hugely underrated just because of the shape of the leaves. I just think they're really, really cool. And we all know I love the Philodendron Golden Dragon, and it reminds me of that a lot. So yeah, I love this plant. So the final plant I'm going to show you that I have that I think is really underrated, which is obviously in my collection, is the Hoya Sunrise. So this Hoya Sunrise was tiny when I bought it. I think I bought it, I think it was about a month ago. It wasn't too long ago. And ever since, it was green. It was fully green when I got it. But now it's obviously, you've got these incredible leaves. Can you see? Oh, so good. I love it. It's so nice, and it's growing. It's growing so quickly from both sides. I really like it. Sorry for all my sniffles, by the way. I have hay fever and it's just, I feel like I've got an itchy nose. It's running, my eyes hurt. It's just so, the sniffles are that. I'm not sick in any other way. But yeah, I really like this. I think it's ridiculously underrated for what it is because it's affordable. I personally paid for this one, I paid £11 because it was Hoya ? When I bought it. So I bought two because I could see on the image, and there was a little discussion on Facebook about it, but you could see one of the leaves were kind of like sunrise-esque. So I bought two just because the deal was good. But outside of that kind of little find and bargain, it is affordable. And from my experience, it's a super, super quick grower, as we can see. I have it here in this gap on this top shelf. It literally is this far away from a grow light. So it's borderline bleaching it / stressing it. So yeah, I will take it to the side a bit. So it's kind of like off center. But yeah, that's a really lovely one. And I think it's massively underrated. And this is the one I was talking about that I said is borderline rated, because if you're a Hoya fan, then you love this. But if you're not a Hoya fan, and I think there's so many people that don't have, I don't know, I feel like Hoya's one of those things where you either love it or hate it. And there's this saying, and I'm not going to remember it now. It's yeah, it's basically like people, I think Harley G originally said it, and it was like a Hoya head, and once you get one or two, then you start becoming obsessed with them, because at first you think they all look the same, but they really don't. And I am definitely a Hoya head for sure, because I love all my Hoya and I could go mad for them. But yeah, underrated in my opinion. I think a lot more people that don't have Hoya should branch out to to Hoya and try. And if you're going to try one, try this one. It's very pretty. If you don't have a grow light, and if like you're not into kind of buying all the like accessories for plants, and you're just like a hardcore normal plant person and you just don't need all of that faffy stuff, then use your windowsill. Just expose it to brighter light. That's all it needs. And you will get that sun stressed kind of look about it. So one of the next plants I wanted to talk about, which I used to have, I don't anymore because it's fussy and it's a Calathea. I think the Calathea network, or the Calathea Mosaica, is so underrated. It's so pretty. Like if you see it on Instagram or pictures, like it's a beautiful plant, but when you get really close to it and you see like the intricacies of like the detail, it's stunning. I really hope I took pictures of the one I had. I think I have done, but if not, I'll find something on Pinterest or Google or something, and I'll put it on the screen. I think this plant is beautiful, and if I trusted myself, I would buy another one. And it's just like no other plant, you know? Like I feel like Anthurium and I feel like Alocasia, they all have like the same kind of look about them, but the Calathea like network is just so unique. But yeah, it's a readily available plant, especially here in the UK. I don't know why we all don't have one. Maybe we're all scared of Calathea like I am, but I really love this plant. And yeah, if you've got one, good for you, because it's a really cool plant and I really love it. So the next plant that I think is underrated, and I don't have it, but I would love it, is the Epipremnum pinnatum. And I love this plant. I think it looks really similar to the Cebu Blue, which, as everyone knows, is very overrated. It's not overrated, it's a lovely plant. It's a rated plant. I think this plant is really beautiful. It doesn't have that silvery blue to it. So I think that's why that one trumps it in terms of ratings. But I think this is a really beautiful plant. I love like the elongated kind of like almost like teardrop shaped like point at the end of the leaves. I've only ever seen this on picture. Like I said, I've never seen this in person. If I did, I would own it. But I think this is a really underrated plant. It's I think it's readily accessible. Like I've seen it on many UK like plant shops. Obviously I'm talking about the UK, I'm not sure about the USA and other countries. And I do think it's affordable. I'm sure I saw it on the Ginger Jungle for like £14, which most plants cost £14 these days, most normal common plants anyway. So yeah, I do think it's like price wise is okay. But yeah, I think it's really, really underrated. I just think it's beautiful. So that is my next one. So the next plant is one that I had and I no longer do. It died from root rot. I was very sad. It's actually the Monstera Peru. I bought it because I was doing an order with Cowls and I needed to spend a little bit more, and I just thought it was really unusual, not many people had it. This was a year ago. When I had it in person, like I was blown away by it's a bit like the dragon scale in terms of like texture. It's like a really like it's like a lobey, like ear lobey. I don't know how that even makes any sense, but it's like a really bumpy, textured, rubbery leaf. Like I just think the foliage is so cool. The shape of them, the growth pattern, because people have them hanging. You don't usually see that though. I don't feel like we see enough of this plant, and it's really, really pretty. It's really accessible, and why don't we all have one? It's just stunning. So the next plant I'm going to show you is one that I do have and I forgot to show it to you. I just filmed all of this and my phone just turned off and it didn't save. This never happened to me before, just really annoying. But anyway, it's this Philodendron Silversword. I love this plant so much, and it's a big one. It's a big juvenile one though. You see it's not swordy. I have had this for over a year, and I have only just started to figure it out now. And I think I was in denial about it being that thirsty. Before, I thought there was something more going on. So it was in my plant, on my plant bench in my bedroom, where plants go when I have had enough of them and I'm sick of them. So all of the leaves would constantly, like, I'll show you this bit, my hair's too long. They'd all be like this, and I was over it being unhappy. But I've come to realise it's a very, very thirsty plant. And it could be because it gets bright indirect light, but also direct light in the afternoons, which I know is a no-no, but it's fine. You know, it's just thirsty, it's fine. So I water this at the moment, every 3 or 4 days. So it will need a water, I reckon, in about 2 days, maybe a bit longer, maybe I'm exaggerating. Maybe I water it once a week. But yeah, it will take more. So yeah, this is fine for now. It's borderline getting a bit dry, I can tell. But I think this is so underrated because you can even see by, it's awful to hold, you can see how shiny it is, but it's one of those ones that until I saw it in person, I was overwhelmed by with how stunning it was, because I wasn't expecting it. Pictures do not do this justice. This video is not doing this justice. It is shiny, it is beautiful, it is like a sea blue, esque looking leaf. Does that make sense? This is how I imagine the sea blue to look, so I don't have it. I just think this is currently one of my favourite plants, and I think I showed this in the video a couple of months ago saying it was my least favourite. But yeah, it just shows how things change. So I love it. I think it's massively underrated. I paid £12 for this, and it was smaller back then. They're still very affordable now. So this is definitely one to put on your list if you don't have it, because it will completely blow you away if you see it in person. But yeah, that's my final one. So I really hope you enjoyed watching this video. Do you agree with my picks here? So these are all my underrated plants, and I really do think that we need to start rating them a bit more. I think they're beautiful. So I think this just demonstrates until and it's the excitement of ordering online, you know, you're ordering something and you have this expectation of it, and then it arrives and you're like, wow, like to have that from a plant is so cool, because you've seen pictures of it, you know what you're buying, it's not a surprise, and it still kind of like blows you away with its beauty. I just think that's so cool. So these are definitely underrated in my opinion. What's your most underrated plant in your collection, and what do you think an underrated plant is that you don't have? I always find that really interesting, because we might underrate it and we haven't had it yet, and then when we see it in person we could have this particular like feel about it, and we see it and we're like, oh, it's really not that good. But yeah, this is my collection, so I really hope you enjoyed it. Give this video a thumbs up if you did, and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.